Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I'm making a short ribs ragu, which is a very special dish. We have the holidays coming up, so I thought I would get this done and we'll just talk about it all. If you've never braised short ribs as a spaghetti sauce, it's so sweet and succulent, tender. My mouth is watering talking about it. You have to try this dish. I did another ragu earlier. I will post that below the description. What I'm using today are what's called the English cut short rib. I saw these in the store. They were so beautiful. The English cut has a bone that's flat and runs all the way through. And you can see that right there. This gives a lot of flavor to the meat, and that's why I chose this one. You can get a flanklin style. I see them all the time in Costco. They're a flat cut and they're a cross cut. So you'll have small pieces of bone on a thin piece of meat. Those are also called Korean barbecue style ribs, and they're delicious. They're marinated and barbecued. That's a whole different thing. But I think that the better cut is this. This is also more expensive. The flanklin, if you want to use those, is absolutely fine. It's your choice. Let me show you what else I'm doing. This is 2.5 pounds of meat, by the way. I'm going to make a mirepoix, which is the usual suspects. You want equal amounts of celery, carrots, and I'm going in with one small, well, that's about a tennis ball size onion, and then a little bit that I had left over. I have tomato paste and 2 cans, 28 ounces each. That's 794 grams each of whole tomatoes. And the reason for the whole tomatoes is because when you buy it like this, they are fully ripe. If you buy chopped tomatoes or diced tomatoes, they're not ripened. A lot of the times you'll find the stem area and it's still green. So it's always best to buy whole. Flavor is much better. I also have, I don't know how many of these stems I'll use, but I'm going to start with 3 stems of rosemary. And I have, I guess this is about 6 or 8 stems if you were to buy them. I grow these, but this is thyme. I'm putting those together. If you'll notice, I'm not using garlic because in Italy, if people use onion, it's rare that they add garlic to a dish that has onion in it because you want the sweetness of the onion to work in the dish. And again, this is it's a savory dish, but it has a sweetness to it. Okay, I also have red wine. You want a dry red wine. The ingredients are simple. The last thing I have to tell you is that I'm doing all of this cutting and mincing in the food processor. And the reason is, you know, if you're going to show your cuts, like you finally chop something and you want your cuts to show, then you use a knife. But this is a braise. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody cares. Make it easy on yourself. And finally, the last thing I have to tell you is whenever you open a can, any good quality kitchen does this. Wash the lid before you put your can opener in there because the lids always have a little dust on them. You don't know who's touched them, where they've been in the store, etc. So just do yourself a favor and wash it. Okay, let's get started. So what I'm doing is just getting some of the moisture off of these short ribs. And I'm just going to use an inverted lid that fit over this. And I'm putting some salt, this is kosher salt, and some pepper in here. That looks pretty good, so I'll start with this. Salt and pepper on every side of these short ribs. Let me take this down here. It doesn't have to be a heavy coating, just whatever the ribs pick up is fine. I'm going to do these other 2 ribs and I'll meet you at the stove. I'm putting some olive oil. This is cooking quality olive oil. I keep 2 kinds. I'm just going to put a little bit in the bottom of the pan, and then these short ribs go in. You don't want to crowd them, so you might have to do this in a couple batches. I think I will, but flip them around so that they're browned on all sides. The reason for blotting these dry is so that they will get brown instead of just steam, and the reason for not crowding your pan, because I could squeeze 2 more in there. Again, you don't want them to steam. You want them to get nice and brown. And that flavor and the fond that it leaves behind is the whole base for all of the other flavors that go in here. If you try to lift this and it doesn't want to move out of your pan, that means it's not ready to turn. When you use a food processor, the hardest thing goes in first. I'm going to go in with the carrots first. After I peel these, I chop these into 1-inch pieces and just a couple of pulses. This is where I'm going to leave it. In this machine, that was 6 pulses. You want this chunky, you don't want it to disappear. So it's going to be in the sauce, but it kind of breaks down, and this is a good place to start. Next is the celery. And I forgot to mention this in case you don't know. A mirepoix is a classic ingredient that goes into a lot of European foods. It's equal amounts of celery, carrots, and onion, and you can eyeball it. It's usually close enough. There's also a white mirepoix, which has more onion than the other 2 ingredients. So now you know everything there is to know about mirepoix. This was 4 pulses. And with the onion, I just cut off the top and bottom. That gives me a flat side. And then just cut this into quarters. And in she goes. Now the tomatoes go in, and I'm putting my spoon or spatula here because I don't want these clumping out and splattering everywhere. So the spoon is there to really help you not splash yourself. If you need to thin this sauce out, I should tell you, you can use either water or a beef broth, but we're also going to use some wine. So I'm going to take these for a spin until it's smooth, and then we'll go back to the stove. Man, those onions were fresh. Whew. Okay, I'm going to take, and this is something that Italians do. This, by the way, is a true Italian recipe. It's also Italian-American. This would be a Sunday sauce or a Sunday gravy. And to quell that argument, this is a sauce, it's not a gravy. The difference is gravy is meat-based, it's brown, and you serve it over things as a garnish. This is a sauce. So, there you go. Sorry, Alice. So what you need to do is you get just a little bit of water, and you put it in your can. I don't know how many times I've seen my mother do this. And you rinse your can out. And the reason is twofold. One is, yes, you clean the can out and get all these little bits. But the other reason is that this is going to be a rather thick sauce by the time it cooks down. And so it's a good idea to start putting water in it. So I cut 3 stems from my rosemary, and I'm keeping this whole, or 4 stems rather. I'm saving one off to the side. I'm thinking that when this is almost done, I may want to put some fresh cut rosemary in there just to beef up that flavor. When rosemary is put in whole, it sort of gives you a very mild background flavor of rosemary. As soon as you cut it, that's when you get a sharper taste of it. So I don't know what I want to do yet. I'm going to see what your food tells you to do. What I do is I put everything together. I'm going to tie it with kitchen twine, just like that. And then I can fish the whole thing out. Whatever leaves fall off of the rosemary or the thyme, and they will definitely, as this braises, fall off. Perfect. Look at the color on these ribs. They're just so beautiful. They're gorgeous. These ribs have a lot of fat in them, and you're going to have to skim fat later. But for now, look at this. Anyway, what I did was I did a quick assessment of the bottom of the pan as far as fat goes. This is all of your fond. Keep this. And as you pour your fat out, if there's any to pour out, do not try to hit this brown stuff here. That's your flavor. That's your flavor base, I should say. I'm almost where I want to be on this, so I'm just going to pour a little bit out. I just want to cover the bottom of this pan. And I've turned my heat down to low, kind of a medium low here goes the mirepoix. Season as you go. So I'm going to give this about, half a teaspoon of salt, a few grains of pepper. Now this will cook down. First of all, I want to coat this mirepoix with the fat that I've left in there. And then you see how easily this fond pulls away. So you get to clean your pan and flavor all of this at the same time. Just cook until it's softened. You don't really need any color on this. If you have too much, if you look at it and you think, that's really too much for the ribs that I have, what I'm going to do if I have extra is I put it in a small little container, airtight container, and I freeze it. And then the next time I need a mirepoix, it's right there, it's already cooked, it's in your freezer. I'm going to empty this out because here's another little tip of mine to have a really robust yet sweet and succulent ragu. I'm going to put just a little dab of oil in here. Bump the heat back up to medium-high. I can see these little bits of residual mirepoix that are sizzling, so that's what I want. I'm going to take my tomato paste and roast it. All that you do is you just throw it in here with some oil and you let it toast. I try to spread this out so that a large part of it will toast. I'm going to move this, and you can see at the bottom I have even more fond, and it's from the tomato. So this is done. So now we get to build this. The mirepoix goes back in. The ribs go in. I want every little drop of this juice. And now for the tomatoes. And again, I'm using this to stop the splatter. It could be a wooden spoon or whatever it is that you like to stir your sauce with. And this has to cook for about 3 hours, or until that meat is absolutely falling apart, falling off the bone. I have Turkish bay leaves. I have 2 bay leaves. I'm going to put those in here. I forgot to mention them. So you have 2 bay leaves in there. Just remember to fish them out. And last but not least, our herbs. So here's this dry red wine. I'm using a Pinot Noir. If you want to stay authentic, you can use a Chianti, but you want about a cup or so. And it just lends body and flavor to this sauce. It makes it so delicious. If you can't use wine, then go ahead and use beef stock. I just want to stir this, make sure everybody's happy. Just let this come up to a bubble, and it's starting already. And I'm going to turn it down to a low simmer and let it go for about 3 hours. Now this is so full that I'm going to do this with the lid off at first. And when it starts reducing, then I'll put a lid on it and just cover it halfway like that, because you do want this to get thicker than what this is. About every 20-30 minutes, you want to come in, give it a stir. After about an hour or so is when I taste it, and then I'll add salt, pepper. That's about it. Come back about every 30 minutes, give it a stir, taste it, and adjust the seasonings as you go. And I'll see you when this is done. I wanted to show you how this looks. This is falling apart right now. I'm just going to take a little piece of this out. But as you can see, it's falling off the bone, clearly. And this just wants to fall apart. Sometimes the sinews and everything that's in here will hold this together. So put a fork in it, just try to pull it and see how it falls. Now, this is definitely ready to go. You can serve this as one piece of meat. I like to shred it because it gives the whole sauce a different texture, or a few different textures, I should say. Get that bone out of there. So I'm just going to pull at this and get some of this meat back in the sauce. In the meantime, sometimes I've made this where this whole top of the sauce is full of fat. And as you can see, there's really very little here. These were leaner than what I'm used to seeing, but there's so little, I'm not going to even try to take anything off of here. Interesting how different they can be, right? So, what kind of pasta do you want to serve with this? This, you know, if you shred it, and even if you don't, it's a smooth-ish sauce. I like it with texture, so I'm putting the meat back in. So you can use a rigatoni or penne, where these strands of meat might get stuck inside of the cavity and give you a nice little bite. The pasta with the meat, that's really good. I have this. I'm thinking about using this. It's a fusilli, but it's huge. It's just a fun cut that I found. And you'll never guess where I found it. I don't know if I can say. Aldi. It's a bronze cut as well. I also have a linguine. The only cut I would not use for this pasta is something really thin, like angel hair. Angel hair it's just going to fall apart in here because this sauce is rather thick. I'm going to just show you how I put this together. If you want this to be thinner than that, then go ahead and use the pasta water, so save that always. So different ways that this can be a make-ahead is when you make the mirepoix, when you put the mirepoix together with the meat and the meat is seared, go ahead and put that in your fridge. That can last a day. This can last a day. It will taste different, but the flavors all sort of blend together, and so you might like that rather than eating it right away. This simmered for 4.5 or 5 hours today. I'm not quite sure which, but yeah, that took a long time. So I guess it depends on the size that you get, how meaty they are, etc. And I'm going to finish this with, typically, you know, I'm all about the Romano cheese, but this dish, I think, is much better with the Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. So this is a little parm. And we're going to toss, 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 and then finish it with a little parm. I'm going to go ahead and get some more pasta on top of this one. So you see now I have like a layer of the sauce, a layer of the pasta and the cheese, and this just all goes in. Also, you need to know this freezes so well, and it's a great meal to have over the holidays. When you have people coming over, even if you don't know that you're going to have guests that night, maybe you have somebody pop over. This is such a sophisticated dinner to have. And finish it with a little olive oil. Whatever you start with, whatever fat you start with, is a fat that you should finish with. Because what happens is those flavors of the butter or the olive oil, in this case, it deteriorates as you cook. So if you finish it with a finishing quality, so this is where you bring out your good stuff and you just finish it, and it makes it, it elevates it to a whole nother thing. Let me taste this for you though, I'm dying to try it. I'm gonna get some cheese, some of the olive oil. This is so good, like I said, it's tender, the meat is succulent, the flavors are incredible, finished with the olive oil and the cheese. This is a great dinner. This with a salad, you know, whatever. What a great meal. I hope you try this. You gotta try it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you make this or if you have any questions, and I'll see you later. Bye guys.